I was in my 60s when I finally realized this. The problem wasn't that I didn't have enough. The problem was that I didn't know what enough was. For decades, I chased more. More money, more stuff, more status. And all it gave me was stress, sleepless nights, and the feeling that I was never enough. The truth is, almost everything our culture tells you about success is a lie. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of my biggest mistake at 45, the house that nearly ruined me, and reveal the four lies about success that are keeping you miserable. Settle in because this one might just change your life. Good morning. Old Joe here. I'm out on the porch with my coffee. Same as always. The sun's just breaking through the trees. There's a cool breeze carrying the smell of pine and damp earth. And I'm looking around at this simple little setup I've got. This old porch, this beat up rocking chair, this cheap coffee mug I've had for probably 20 years. And you know what I'm thinking? I wish I'd figured this out sooner. This simple life, this peaceful life, this life where I don't need much, don't want much, and I'm okay with that. Because I spent decades chasing more, and all that more only made me miserable. It wasn't until I was in my 60s that I finally figured out. The problem wasn't that I didn't have enough. The problem was that I didn't know what enough was. And once I figured that out, everything changed. So today, I want to talk to you about the power of a simple life, about how less can actually be more, about how the pursuit of more is what's keeping you stressed and exhausted, and about how finding your enough might be the most important thing you ever do. And I'm going to tell you the story of how I learned this lesson the hard way. At 45 years old, after I'd already made one massive financial mistake, when I should have known better, but didn't. So settle in, get comfortable, because this one's important. Let's get into it. Let me take you back to when I was 45 years old. This was about 8 years after that business disaster I've told you about. The one where I lost $15,000 and nearly lost our house. The one that put us in debt for years. By this point, we'd finally recovered, paid off that second mortgage, got back on solid ground, had a little bit saved up in the bank for the first time in nearly a decade. And I should have been happy, should have been grateful, should have just enjoyed the peace that comes from not worrying about money every single day. But I wasn't, because I'd look around at other guys my age, and they seemed to be doing so much better than me. They had bigger houses, nicer trucks. Their kids were in private schools. They took vacations to places I couldn't even pronounce. And me, I was driving a 12-year-old pickup with rust spots, living in a modest 3-bedroom house that needed a new roof, shopping at discount stores, and it ate at me, not because I actually needed those things, but because I felt like I was supposed to have them. Like if I didn't, it meant I'd fail somehow. So when I got a promotion at work, nothing huge, just a step up to supervisor that came with a $10,000 raise, I didn't see it as a chance to save more or pay down what little debt we had left or just breathe a little easier. I saw it as proof that I'd finally made it, that I deserved to live like the successful people I saw around me. And I made a decision. I decided we needed a new house. Not because our house was bad, it was fine, a little small maybe, a little worn, but it was paid for, it was ours. It was enough. But I didn't think it was enough. I thought we needed more. So I started looking at houses in a nicer neighborhood. houses that would make people look at me and think, he's doing well, he's successful. And I found one, a 4-bedroom, 2-story place with a big yard and a 2-car garage, in a subdivision where everyone had neat lawns and new cars in the driveways. The monthly payment was going to be almost double what we'd been paying, but I figured, hey, I just got a raise. We can handle it. My wife had doubts. She liked our little house, liked our neighborhood where we knew everyone, liked not having a house payment, but I pushed. Told her this was our chance. Our kids were growing up. We deserved something nice. This was what success looked like. So we bought it. And for about 3 months, I felt great. Felt proud. Felt like I'd finally arrived. We had the housewarming party. Showed everyone around. Got compliments on the high ceilings and the big kitchen and the master bathroom with the fancy shower. And then reality set in. That mortgage payment, it was crushing us. Even with the raise, we were stretched thin. Had to cut back on everything else just to make it work. The yard? Turns out maintaining a big lawn is expensive and time-consuming. Spent every Saturday morning mowing, trimming, edging, trying to keep up with the neighbors' perfectly manicured yards. The house itself, it needed constant work, constantly breaking. Always something that needed fixing or replacing or updating. And the neighborhood, we didn't know anyone. Everyone kept to themselves, away from their driveways, but never really talked. Within 6 months, I realized I'd made a terrible mistake. We traded our cozy little paid-off house where we knew all the neighbors for a big, expensive house that was sucking up all our money and all our time and giving us nothing in return except the appearance of success. But I couldn't admit it. Not to my wife, not to my friends, not even to myself. Because admitting I'd been wrong would mean admitting that all this stuff I thought mattered. The big house, the nice neighborhood, the image of success didn't actually matter at all. So we stuck it out for 3 years. 3 years of being house poor. 3 years of constant stress about money. 3 years of maintaining this expensive lifestyle that was making us miserable. Until one day my wife sat me down and said, Joe, I hate this house. I hate this neighborhood. I hate worrying about money all the time. Can we please just sell it and go back to living the way we used to? And I realized she was right. She'd been right all along. We sold that house, took a loss on it because the market had dropped, and bought a smaller, simpler place, not as fancy, not in the nice neighborhood, but affordable, manageable, peaceful. And you know what? The relief was immediate. Suddenly, we could breathe again, could save money again, could make choices based on what we wanted instead of what we could afford. And I learned something that should have been obvious but somehow wasn't. More doesn't make you happy, it just makes you more stressed. That experience taught me that almost everything our culture tells us about success is a lie. And I want to break down those lies for you. Because if you can see through them, you can save yourself years of pain and stress and chasing things that don't actually matter. So here are the 4 lies we tell ourselves about success. Lie number 1, success means having more. More money, more stuff, bigger house, nicer car, better clothes, fancier vacations. Our entire culture is built on this idea. Every commercial, every TV show, every movie, every social media post, They're all selling you the same message: more is better. And we buy into it. We think if I just had a little more money, I'd be happy. If I just had a bigger house, I'd be comfortable. If I just had a nicer car, people would respect me. But it's a trap. Because here's the thing about more: there's always more. There's always someone with a bigger house, a nicer car, more money, better stuff. So you never arrive. You never feel like you've made it. You're always chasing the next thing. And the whole time, you're working yourself to death, stressed out, missing time with your family, sacrificing your health and your peace and your actual life, all to accumulate more stuff that doesn't make you any happier. I see this with young people all the time now. They're making good money, way more than I ever made at their age, but they're miserable because they've bought into this idea that success means having everything: the nice apartment, the new car, the latest phone, the expensive clothes, the trendy restaurants. And they're working 60-hour weeks to afford it all. And they're stressed and they're exhausted. And they can't figure out why they're not happy even though they have all this stuff. Here's what I wish someone had told me when I was young: having more doesn't make you successful, needing less does. Real success isn't about accumulating, it's about being content with what you have. It's being able to look at your life and say, this is enough. I don't need more. I'm good. That's freedom. That's peace. That's real success. But our culture doesn't want you to know that. Because if everyone figured out that they don't actually need all this stuff, the entire economy would collapse. So they keep selling you the lie. Keep telling you that more is better. Keep making you feel like you're not enough unless you have the latest, greatest, newest, best. Don't fall for it. Figure out what enough is for you. And once you hit it, stop chasing more. Lie number 2: your stuff defines you. This is the one that really got me. The idea that what I owned said something about who I was, that my house reflected my worth as a person, that my truck showed whether I was successful or not, that my possessions were a statement about my value. And I believed it. Thought if I had a nice thing, people would think I was successful, would respect me, would see me as someone who'd made something of himself. But here's the truth: nobody cares about your stuff as much as you think they do. That big house I bought, the one I thought would make people respect me. You know how many people came to visit us there? Hardly any. And the ones who did, they didn't care about the house. They cared about the people in it. That fancy neighborhood, the one I thought would make me feel like I'd arrived. Nobody there cared who I was or what I'd accomplished. We were just strangers living next to each other. All that stuff I thought would define me, that would show the world who I was, it didn't matter to anyone but me. And the sad part is, while I was busy trying to impress people who didn't care, I was neglecting the people who actually did care. My wife, my kids, my real friends. They didn't need me to have a big house or a new truck or any of that. They just needed me to be present, to be there, to not be constantly stressed and working and maintaining all this stuff I thought I needed. Here's something I've learned. The people who actually matter in your life don't care what you own. They care about who you are. And the people who do care about what you own, they don't actually matter. Think about your real friends, the people you really trust, the people who'd be there if everything fell apart. Do they like you because of your house, because of your car, because of your stuff? Number. They like you because of who you are as a person. And if someone only respects you because of what you own, that's not respect. That's just envy or superficiality. And it's not worth having. Your stuff doesn't define you. Your character does. Your kindness does. How you treat people does. Whether you show up when things get hard does. All the rest is just noise. Lie number 3, complexity equals sophistication. This is a sneaky one. Because we're taught that the more complicated your life is, the more important you must be. Busy schedule must be successful. Multiple properties must be doing well. Complicated finances must be wealthy. But here's what I've learned. Complexity is usually just chaos dressed up in fancy clothes. When my life was most complicated, when I had that big house to maintain, when I was working overtime to make the payments, when I was juggling bills and trying to keep up appearances, I wasn't sophisticated. I was just stressed. There's nothing sophisticated about being too busy to eat dinner with your family. Nothing impressive about having so many obligations that you can't enjoy a Saturday morning. Nothing admirable about a life so complicated that you need a planner just to keep track of everything. That's not success, that's just exhausting. Real sophistication is simplicity. It's having a life that's simple enough that you can actually enjoy it, where you're not constantly rushing from one thing to the next, where you have space to think, to breathe, to be. I think about my life now. I wake up when I wake up. I make my coffee. I sit on my porch. I do a little work around the property. I spend time with my wife. I talk to my kids when they call. It's simple, really simple. And people might look at that and think it's boring, or that I've given up, or that I'm not ambitious enough. But you know what? I sleep like a baby. I'm not stressed. I enjoy every single day. I have time for the things and people I care about. That's sophisticated. That's what success actually looks like. The mistake is thinking that a complicated life means an important life, but usually it just means you haven't figured out what actually matters yet. The most successful, happiest people I know, they have simple lives. They've cut out all the stuff that doesn't matter. They've said no to opportunities that would complicate things. They've chosen simplicity over the appearance of importance, and they're better for it. Lie number 4, you can have it all. This might be the biggest lie of all. The idea that you can have everything you want, that you don't have to choose, that with enough hustle, enough ambition, enough work, you can have the successful career and the perfect family and the nice house and the hobbies and the travel and the peace of mind. It's a lie. You can't have it all. Life is about trade offs. Every choice you make closes off other choices. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. When I chose to work all that overtime to pay for that big house, I was choosing not to be at my kids' games, not to have dinner with my family, not to have time for myself. Those weren't separate decisions. They were the same decision, and our culture doesn't want to admit that. Doesn't want to tell you that success in one area often means sacrifice in another area. They want you to think you can hustle your way to having everything. Work hard enough and you can have the career and the family and the health and the peace. But that's not how it works. You have limited time, limited energy, limited attention. You have to choose where to spend those resources. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can make intentional choices about what matters most to you. For me, I spent too many years trying to have it all, trying to be the successful businessman and the present father and the good husband and the guy with the nice house and the impressive life. And what happened? I did all of it badly. Wasn't good at any of it because I was spread too thin. It wasn't until I simplified, until I said, these few things matter most to me, and I'm going to focus on those and let everything else go, that I actually started living well. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a good life. You can. You can have a beautiful, fulfilling, successful life. But it won't look like the Instagram version of having it all. It'll be simpler than that, more focused, more intentional. You'll have to choose, have to say no to some things so you can say yes to the things that matter most. And that's okay. That's good, actually, because having it all is exhausting and usually means you're not really enjoying any of it. But having a few things that really matter, that you can be fully present for, that you can actually appreciate, that's a life worth living. So let me tell you what a simple life actually looks like. Because when people hear simple life, they often think it means giving up everything, living in a shack, not having any nice things, being poor. That's not what I'm talking about. A simple life doesn't mean you have nothing. It means you have exactly what you need and nothing you don't. It means you've thought about what actually matters to you, not what you're supposed to want, not what looks impressive, but what actually makes your life better. And you've built your life around those things. For me, that's this: my wife, my kids and grandkids, this little piece of land, my morning coffee on the porch, a few good friends, work that feels meaningful without being overwhelming, time to think and read and just be. That's it. That's my list. And everything else, I've let it go. I don't care about having the newest truck. I drive what works. Don't care about having a big house. This small place is enough. Don't care about impressing anyone or keeping up with anyone or proving anything to anyone. And it's the most freeing thing I've ever experienced. A simple life means you own less stuff, which means less to maintain, less to worry about, less to clean and organize and repair, more time and money for what actually matters. You have fewer commitments, which means more margin in your schedule, more flexibility, more ability to say yes when opportunities come up without your calendar being so full you can't fit anything else in. You spend less money, which means less financial stress, more savings, more freedom to make choices based on what's right instead of what pays the most. You have clearer priorities, which means less decision fatigue, less wondering if you're doing the right thing, less guilt about saying no because you know what you're saying yes to. You're more present, which means you actually enjoy your life instead of constantly rushing to the next thing. You notice the moments, you appreciate what you have. You're actually there for the people who matter. That's what simple means. And it's powerful, not because it's easy, though it often is easier than the complicated alternative, but because it gives you back your life, your time, your peace, your ability to focus on what really matters. So, how do you actually do this? How do you simplify your life? when everything around you is pushing you toward more complexity. Let me give you some practical steps, things that worked for me, things that might work for you. Step one, define your enough. Sit down and really think about this. What do you actually need to live a good life? Not what you want, not what you think you're supposed to have, but what you actually need. How much money do you need? What size house? How many possessions? How busy of a schedule? Write it down. Get specific. Because if you don't define enough, you'll never reach it. You'll always be chasing more. Step two, audit your life. Look at everything you have, everything you do, every commitment, every possession, every recurring expense, and ask, does this add to my life or take from it? And if it doesn't add something meaningful, if it's just there because you think you're supposed to have it, or because everyone else has it, or because you bought it years ago and never got rid of it, let it go. Step three, start saying no. This is the hardest one, but it's the most important. You have to start saying no to things, no to opportunities that would complicate your life, no to commitments that don't align with your priorities, no to purchases you don't actually need. Every yes to something new is a no to something else, usually your time, your money, or your peace. So be picky about your yeses. Step four, reduce your fixed expenses. This is huge. Your fixed expenses, mortgage, car payment, insurance, subscriptions, they're the things that keep you trapped, that force you to keep earning at a certain level regardless of what you actually want to do. The lower your fixed expenses, the more freedom you have. So look at ways to reduce them. Cheaper housing, older car, fewer subscriptions, less stuff that requires ongoing payments. Every dollar of fixed expense you eliminate is a dollar of freedom you gain. Step 5. Create space. Don't fill every minute of every day. Don't pack your schedule so tight that you have no margin. Leave space, empty space, space to think, space to breathe, space for unexpected opportunities or needs. That space is where life actually happens, where connection happens, where creativity happens, where peace happens. If your life is so full that there's no space, you're just surviving, not living. Step 6. Question everything. Every time you're about to buy something, take on a new commitment, or add complexity to your life, stop and ask, do I actually need this? Or do I just want it because everyone else has it? Or because I think I'm supposed to want it? Will this add to my life or just complicate it? Is this aligned with my priorities or is it a distraction? Most of the time, if you're honest with yourself, the answer will be clear. Here's what I wish I'd understood when I was younger. Enough is a gift you give yourself. It's not something that happens to you. It's not something you stumble into. It's a decision you make. You decide, this is enough. This house is enough. This income is enough. This life is enough. And once you make that decision, everything changes because you stop chasing, stop comparing, stop feeling like you're not doing enough or being enough or having enough. You just are. And that's okay. That's good. That's enough. I spent decades feeling like I wasn't enough, like I needed to prove something, like I had to keep climbing, keep achieving, keep accumulating. And it made me miserable. It wasn't until I was in my 60s, after that house mistake, after years of chasing more, that I finally said, enough. This is enough. What I have is enough. Who I am is enough. The relief was immediate. Like I'd been carrying this massive weight my whole life and suddenly just set it down. I don't need to impress anyone, don't need to prove anything, don't need more than what I have. This simple life, this porch, this coffee, this quiet morning, it's enough. And once I realized that, I was finally free. Free from the constant pressure to do more, be more, have more. Free from the comparison trap. Free from the stress of maintaining a life that was too big and too complicated and too expensive. Just free. And I sleep better now than I have in 40 years. Don't worry about money. Don't stress about what people think. Don't feel like I'm falling behind or missing out because I found mine enough and I'm content with it. That's the gift I wish I'd given myself sooner. Look, I know this goes against everything you're told. I know the whole world is screaming at you to want more, to buy more, to do more, to be more. I know there's pressure from family, from friends, from society to live a certain way, to have certain things, to achieve certain milestones. And I know it's hard to step away from all that and say, no thanks, okay, I'm good with simple. But I'm telling you, as someone who spent 50 years chasing more, who made every mistake you can make in pursuit of success, who finally figured this out way later than he should have, simple is better. Not because it's easier, though it often is, but because it gives you your life back. It gives you time with the people you love, peace of mind, the ability to actually enjoy what you have instead of always looking at what you don't have. It gives you freedom, real freedom, not the fake freedom of having lots of money but being trapped by your expensive lifestyle. Real freedom to make choices, to take risks, to say no to things that don't serve you. That big house I bought at 45 didn't make me happy. It made me stressed and broke and anxious. You know what makes me happy? This little place, this simple life, this morning coffee on my porch. I wish I'd figured that out sooner. Would have saved myself decades of unnecessary stress and complexity in chasing things that didn't actually matter. But I can't go back. All I can do is tell you and hope that maybe you'll learn from my mistakes instead of having to make your own. So here's my challenge to you. Define your enough. Figure out what actually matters to you. And then build a simple life around those things. Let go of everything else, all the stuff you think you're supposed to want, all the things you're chasing just because everyone else is chasing them. Choose simple, choose content, choose enough. Because I promise you, when you look back on your life years from now, you won't wish you'd had more stuff, won't wish you'd worked more hours, won't wish you'd impressed more people. You'll wish you'd simplified sooner, spent more time on what mattered, worried less about what everyone else thought. Don't make the same mistake I did. Don't wait until you're 73 to figure this out. Do it now, today. Find your enough and be content with it. That's where the power is. That's where the peace is. That's where the good life actually lives. All right. That's all I've got for you today. I'm going to sit here a while longer. Enjoy this simple morning, this quiet moment, this enough, and I hope you'll find yours. Take care of yourself and remember, you don't need as much as you think you do. You really don't. I'll see you in the next one.